See, when you don't really have a staff, you kind of have to frame the shot, and I framed it by spitting on the ground where I should be standing, so hopefully this works out. Welcome.
You're listening to the G1 podcast.
What is up, everyone? Thanks for joining me. I'm GP for the G1 podcast, and this is the weekly vlog / This Week in Korean History. As you can see, we're up on my roof here in Itaewon. We got Namsan, the tower right behind you. You can't see that. But I thought it was a nice sunny day, so kind of change of environment for you. Thanks for joining me, as always. I wanted to start off this particular edition by explaining the origins of the term broadcasting because they kind of have a special meaning to me specifically. The first person to coin that term was Charles David Herald. He's an electronics instructor in the early 1900s. And he was actually from San Jose, California, where I'm actually from, if you didn't know that. Doesn't really matter to you, that's fine. But if there's a term like broadcasting, there's also the opposite term, narrowcasting, which means a signal that's meant to travel to a particular person. For example, an email doesn't go to everyone, it just goes to that one recipient. Broadcasting would be something that goes to everyone. And he actually drew that term from the farm term broadcasting, which is to disperse your seed far and wide. So broadcasting originally means to kind of disperse your seed far and wide. Guys from San Jose, California, just like me, so perhaps that's why I feel like I was born to do this. Yeah, there you go. All innuendo aside, let's get moving on to the big news for the G1 podcast. Unfortunately, Sojin, the co-host of Shimin Says, will be taking some time off to pursue graduate school. What this means for you is that Shimin Says, not Rock Bottom or Foodie Call, will be on hiatus until I find someone talented enough to fill her shoes. I deeply regret to inform you that, and of course, stay with us because that segment is not going anywhere. The response to it has been amazing, and I thank you so much for bearing with me. We wish Sojin the best of luck, of course. Before she left, she did help me out a little bit on a upcoming segment of Rock Bottom about the lack of gun culture in Korea. So we actually went paintballing this past Thursday, which was Children's Day. Thank you very much, Sojin, for helping me out with that. We wish you the best of luck, homie. All right, other events this week. Earlier today, I actually went to ParkFit with Dean Myers, and I interviewed him and Wolfie yoga instructor Vanessa Burke last week. That's an upcoming edition of Rock Bottom coming out in a few weeks, but since I went to ParkFit this week, you can check out the footage right now.
7, 6. Great, keep it up, keep it up. 5. Let's go, mountain climbers, mountain climber. Be a star, be a star. Hey, you're stud buffing, man. Come on, guys, 55 seconds, 45 seconds. Let's go.
If you're interested, Facebook link and all that good stuff are in the description below. Okay, moving backwards a little bit. Let's see, what else did I do? On Wednesday, I had a company dinner. It's really good to work with people you actually enjoy spending time with, and that was nice, so check this out. Sit down. Stop texting girls, Alex. Lighting is terrible. And we're trying to explain your drink.
Oh, my drink.
Yeah, so pick it up.
So right now,
We're at a work dinner, I guess, but we're actually all friends, so. Nah, it's cool. Light's better. All right, so what is that drink, Alex?
this right here is a Wild Turkey 101. It is basically a whiskey that you would want to give to someone that you hate.
It's not the most pleasant drink.
No, at best, it makes you want to get into a fight with a biker.
And we're in a classy place, but there is a reason we have it. You know, we kind of started drinking this back in the day when we did our band together. That was like 3 years ago.
The girls next to us don't know we were in a band.
Yeah, and
I'm a rapper.
jeez. I don't know what rock I just uncovered by revealing that, but you know, there's definitely the nostalgia factor, and now you know too. Cheers.
Hi!
I'm partial to whiskey. I don't know about you guys, but you can go ahead and, you know, just comment your favorite cocktail or drink or whatever below. And if you're around Itaewon, then hit me up and we'll get a drink. Okay, and moving back a little bit to Monday, last Monday actually, I had dinner with my friend Eddie, which is not that particularly like notable, but he's doing a very interesting project. It's called 30 Days of Dining, and he's just sitting down with interesting people and having dinner pretty much until he leaves Korea, which is coming up at the end of the month. And it's an interesting project. It's interesting to be a fly on the wall in these conversations, and I'm one of them, so you can check that out by clicking right here, I think. Okay, moving forward to this week in Korean history. Let's start off with the first. This week in 1948, Korea's very first constitutional assembly elections, which were actually held under American occupation and UN supervision. That went down in this week in 1948. It would eventually lead to a constitution that kind of resembles the United States. And it was really the first step in a long, arduous process towards democracy. You know, there's a lot of fumbles on the way with dictators, things like that. But of course, I think every country is getting there, even in the United States. Democracy is, in execution, is far from what it is in concept, right? So take that for what it is, and everyone will have their views there. Moving forward to another win for democracy this week in 2004, when the Constitutional Court dismissed a move to impeach Korea's 9th president, moo-hyun. Little context for you. moo-hyun, relatively newly elected at the time, he publicly voiced his support for his newly formed party, the Uri Party, which is a big no-no because there are provisions in the Constitution that demand presidential impartiality, at least publicly, right? And so he, like a badass, refused to apologize, right? Why would you? And opposition lawmakers kind of saw that as an open door to jump on this technicality where they could move to impeach. They initiated a vote, the vote passed. The Constitutional Court dismissed it. Interesting thing is that during this whole process, his popularity, which originally floated around 30%, went up because the public rightfully viewed this as an internal struggle, kind of against parties, against the public mandate, public vote. You know, of course, they elected him president, and this whole move by the opposition was kind of a slap in the face to the public. So President moo-hyun and his newly formed Uri Party rode this momentum all the way into that parliamentary election, and they took a majority of the seats that month in 2004. Awesome. Okay, moving forward in history to 2012, Yeosu Expo opened, and I remember this very well. I lived back in the day, I lived in Ulsan. I did not go to Yeosu, and I've never been there. I'd like to go one day. I hear it's very beautiful. Anyway, Yeosu's expo was 92 days long, drew in over 8 million visitors to the city. The thing about that now is, you know, companies and hotels, things like that, all the infrastructure there, they knew that this was a temporary influx, but I hear it's worse than they had imagined. So if you live in Yeosu or you've been there since, go ahead and leave a comment. I'd love to know how the city is now 4 years after the expo and how business owners are taking that big hit. All right, one more last thing this week in Korean history. Teachers' Day, the Korean edition of it, started in the 1960s, as I understand, and was actually a very noble kind of gesture by Red Cross volunteers to set aside a day to visit their sick former teachers in hospitals. Its popularity has been somewhat parabolic since then, so it gained in popularity. People wanted to visit their teachers, you know, pay their respects. Over the years, respect for teachers has gone down pretty much worldwide, unfortunately. I myself was a teacher, and Teachers' Day didn't mean that much to me. But it was interesting, I thought, that at some schools, Teachers' Day closed, and that there's actually a reason. Teachers' Day, the school was closed. There was actually a reason because bribery started becoming really widespread as society became more wealthy. So a lot of schools have discretionary holidays that they take on Teachers' Day so as to completely avoid that. Probably a good call, and also, quite frankly, if it's a holiday for me and I'm a teacher, why would I want to teach, right? We need a day off just like the kids. Anyway, that's this week in Korean history. That's the vlog. That was my week. Coming up on This Week in the Podcast, brand new edition of Rock Bottom featuring the Korean nerd Alex Sigris. He drops by to tell us all about ActiveX and Korea's jaded history with Internet Explorer, why buying things, giving companies your money in Korea is so difficult. Also, Foodie Call. We're taking on a very conceptual, philosophical versus the buck angle here. Authenticity versus catering to your consumer base, which is, in Korea, Koreans. Stay tuned for all that coming up. Glad to have you. Thanks for tuning in. Leave a comment, like, share, all that great stuff. For the G1 podcast, I'm GP. See you soon.
이번역은 사당역입니다. 내리실 건 왼쪽입니다. 잠시 뒤